I'd like to call to order the December 3rd, 2019 meeting of the Natural Resources Board. If we could all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. I'll have the roll call, please.
Mr. O'Neill.
Present.
Ms. Callahan.
Present.
Ms. Ware.
Present.
Ms. Brothers.
Present.
Ms. Mosbleck.
Present.
Mr. Carano.
Present.
Mr. Stadelman.
Present.
Ms. Lovell.
Present.
Mr. Badea.
Betta, present.
Thank you.
Motion to approve the minutes?
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, thank you. We have two announcements, the introduction of our new board member. Two. And then board positions available. Kim, I'll turn it to you.
We're currently full. We have no open positions.
And then our two new board members, welcome and thank you so much. Would you like to introduce yourselves and tell us a little bit about maybe why you're joining us?
My name is Thomas Carano. I recently moved to Sebastian about 8 months ago. For 31 years, I worked for the Town of Brookhaven's Division of Environmental Protection on Long Island, New York. The Town of Brookhaven is one of the largest towns in New York. It covers about 351 square miles and has 153 miles of shoreline. My job was to protect all development along the shoreline and adjacent to any wetlands, and that included land divisions, subdivisions, single-family dwellings. So it was a busy time.
Welcome on board.
Thank you.
Okay, yes, and my name is Dr. Robert Betta. For 22 years, I was a chiropractor in New Jersey, practicing a holistic form, if you will. And I had been associated with an organization there in New Jersey called the Alliance for a Living Ocean. And we were most concerned about Ciba-Geigy and its pharmaceutical outpipe into the Atlantic Ocean and the effect on marine life there. So I've had a long time being concerned about public health matters and matters of natural resource conservation and protection is a subject very dear to me. Thank you.
Welcome.
Welcome. Okay, we'll move on to the next item. We have public input. Yes. Do we have anyone for public input? Hi.
Hello.
Good evening, Lady Chair.
How are you?
I guess I'm over here, right? I have an issue that I brought up to the board. I was a member of the board for over 6 years, the Natural Resources Board.
Sorry.
2 years ago.
Sorry,
I'm sorry.
do you mind for the record, if you don't mind stating your name
Gil
and spelling
Gordian,
it?
498 Quarry Lane. I presented the board 2 years ago with a petition. We had a serious soil problem, and the soil problem continues. It's nice to see new faces on the board, first of all. And what I did was presented it to the board, and I'm on the corner of Quarry and Autumn Terrace, and my water has been sitting there for over 5 months. And one of the reasons the lateral swale that's adjacent, a block and a half away, to me is not properly maintained. It needs a serious dredge situation, needs to be dredged. That, I do have some images. And over the almost 200 signatures that I did receive, I would say 45% were over the age of 65 and could not properly maintain their quarter rounds. That's actually in front of their homes and in front of many people's homes. So therefore, I took the liberty of getting the petitions, and they do come, I would believe, Kimberly would know a little better, I'd say maybe twice a year to cut the weeds that grow into the lateral swales. I'll see if I can pop an image here. I just can't see them right now. Bear with me. Let's see. Okay, that's not it.
That's a nice shot.
Pretty. Nonetheless, my water has, oh, I can't find all of these. There we go. I don't have it.
No
on
summer
in the
vacation?
library, so let's try it again. I thought we did prompt it. Okay, let's try it. Let's go back to the beginning. Anyway, make the long story short, I did make the petition. They did come about a month later, and all they actually do to the lateral swales is that they cut. They don't actually dredge. The water runs down the entire length, which is over a quarter of a mile, down Quarry Lane and into my corner and Autumn Terrace. It goes down Autumn Terrace, a block and a half, and into the lateral swale. It's been a problem for me. I can walk my dog or take a quick walk at dusk and get bitten up. I've seen some various animals crawling in there. Of course, it's a nice haven for the frogs. I could take some nice sound effects. But I would like to present that and maybe ask Kimberly if she can write up a little memo to the city of Sebastian to be able to actually dredge that body of water that's going down along, I believe, I forgot what street that is there. I have to look at it on the map.
Is it the ditch or the canal?
It's the lateral swale, which is wider.
Have you contacted the citizen request line for stormwater?
No.
We do have a new Public Works and City Engineer Stormwater Director, Ken Griffin, and so we'll see a lot of those projects being put on an action plan. So I recommend calling that citizen request line is how you get
Okay.
priority on there.
I'm going to try and just pop up another 2 minutes, and let's see what happens here on these photos. I should be able to get something going on. Let's try that one. Nope, that's not it. That's not it. Come on.
While he's searching for the pictures, I mean, I know that you work pretty closely with stormwater and some of the projects that they're doing. Is this the type of thing, do we know that this problem is going on very widespread throughout the city, or are we starting to address?
There are a number of areas that, because of their soil and elevations, that have continual problems with drainage, and that's why the quarter rounds were installed. And probably a lot of you may not be familiar with it if you don't have them in your yard, but they're sort of a quarter round, a quarter of a pipe laid in the base of the swale that has holes in it for drainage to help with the drainage and to keep the swale from leveling out, especially in areas where the soil is more hydric, water-bound. It wants to flatten out and not absorb the water. And so they are helpful, but swales have to be maintained. And that's, it's the homeowner's responsibility to maintain the swale in front of their yard. But the city does go around and assist.
I have some images real quick. This was taken, I would say, about 3 weeks ago, and it's not due to the amount of rain. When I first moved there 10 years ago, the water, the city came in, or whoever, the county did put the quarter rounds in. Everything flowed well. If you look at this image, to the right, left-hand corner, you'll see how tall the lateral swale is. And that's the growth that's running down along on the backside of Quarry Lane. I don't have the exact.
And the standard rule of thumb for swales drainage is 72 hours. So ideally, it should drain completely within 72 hours, but in some of these areas that isn't occurring. But you know, our stormwater department was stripped on resources for a while, and now they have a new director, an engineer, and they're prioritizing projects. That's why I recommend contacting them through that citizen request line. I'd be happy to send it to you, Gil.
Okay.
And
I
and
mean,
then
you can see the deluge here. This is shortly after a rain or during a rain. But the maintaining of that lateral swale is that tall green stuff beyond the palm trees there. And it runs all the way down, I would say a good quarter mile, if not more. This is not adjacent, this is the next block. It's like a block and a half from my house. Here's my home, and then the corner. This is the corner of Autumn Terrace and Quarry Lane. It's like a high tide, and it's still there. It smells.
And there are a
it does-
number of factors that affect the drainage on that, and that's something
They did
that
take
only the stormwater
measurements?
department can really answer for you, but I'll tell you, the new director, he's very approachable.
Okay.
And I'll give you his contact information and direct you with that
Thank you.
citizen request line.
Here's a view of the street.
Wow.
I mean, it seriously has to get dredged, not just
Yeah.
cut. All right, thank you for hearing me out.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you, Gil.
You're welcome.
Do you have any further public input? Okay, if not, we'll move on to item 7. We've got new business. So the first item is to select a new board chair.
So we'll start with if anyone wants to nominate someone or if anyone is interested in being the chair. This is the person that, moderates the meeting, keeps it flowing according to the agenda, is really basically the moderator of the meeting. So it's an important role. And so anyone they'd like to nominate, or if anyone is interested.
Are
Well, I'd
we
be
able to
happy
ask a
to.
question
Oh, go ahead.
before we nominate somebody? Just to ask. I would like to nominate somebody, but I just need to ask if you had time to do it. If Ruth, would you have time to do it if you were nominated?
After first quarter 2020, I have some work obligations that take me out of country for a little bit of time.
She's
That
gonna be in
answers my
Australia.
question then. Thank you very much.
Is it possible to temporarily, on an interim, like if Ruth wanted to be chaired for an interim, someone sit in for her until
The
after
chair has
first
to be
quarter?
chosen, and then that's the chair.
Thank you.
I'll nominate Charles.
I'm happy to do it if Charles doesn't want to, but
No, I do want to. I was just, when I like dealing with experts, and I would run if nominated, and I would serve if elected. I just feel that Ruth has some great credentials, and she's expressed a great desire to serve Sebastian, and I wanted to ask her before we went any further. And, but yes, I am interested.
Okay.
Thank you.
Do we need
Anyone else want to throw their hat in, and then we need to second it, and we need to vote?
I'll second his motion, if I can.
Well, I mean, I would certainly, I would second the motion. I think, yeah, Charles would do a great job. He had done a great job, when filling in, so, yeah. Are there any, it seems like there's no one else wanting to put their name in. Okay, so we just go ahead and vote on this then? Okay, all those in favor of Charles as the new board chair? Please vote aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, congratulations.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Sam. So should we switch chairs?
Just follow through with the meeting.
Okay.
Yeah, you can wait.
Sounds good.
Thank you very much.
All right, so I guess I don't know, Charles, you want to take this from here? Okay, it's all you.
After selection of new board chair, we have item A in section 7, Pelican Island Wildlife Festival on Saturday, March 7th, 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. That's a great way to show our support for the people over at doing the Pelican Island, everything that goes along with it. It's Sebastian's uniqueness to the world, I think. It's what makes us who we are. It's our bread and butter, and anything that I think we can do to support it, as well as get our name out there, as well as sustainable Sebastian, I would be glad to support this. Anybody else has any comments on it?
The board had a booth 2 years ago, but there wasn't a booth last year, so I thought I would put it in early to get us deciding on whether or not we wanted to do that.
Yeah, I think we should have a booth.
I think it's a good idea.
It is an actionable item, so we'll have to take a vote on it. Can we just take a single voice vote, or does it have to be? Okay, does anybody have any more comment on it before we vote?
Just one simple comment. Recently, I was down along the waterfront, and I saw Teddy Roosevelt's statement included the protection of natural resources for the children. So I think that unifies along with Teddy's message that we should indeed have a presence there at the Pelican Island Festival. I think it's a great idea.
Thank you, Dr. Bennett. Is there any other comments from any of the other board members?
I'll move we have a booth.
If we can vote to have a booth?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
I said I'll move that we do have a booth.
Oh, yes, ma'am. Yes. The item up for vote is vote on having a booth at the Pelican Island Wildlife Festival, Saturday, March 7th. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say nay. Motion passes unanimously. We will have a booth at the Pelican Island Festival. Thank you.
Yes, we
Oh,
do.
I guess we'll start over then.
I'll second.
Do we have to vote again?
No.
No, okay, thanks. Okay, that takes us through our new business.
Do
Item
we
8.
need to do any more planning at this time for that action item? Do we need to?
I was going to make it on the items for next agenda to say who wants to volunteer and what exactly we want to promote. We'll figure at January's meeting.
Is there any more comments on that right there? No, we're good. Okay, unfinished business, section 8. Item A, Christmas parade on Saturday, December 7th, 5:30 to 8:30. Discuss final details and meetup location. Ooh, Christmas parade float.
We will have the truck will be parked Friday after lunch on the back row of the parking at City Hall. Our driver, Robert, works for Public Works, and he's arranged the truck, and he'll be our driver. He's been really helpful. He's also going to get us a converter so we can plug in, so make sure we have extension cords and lights. There's sand at the airport. If we want to shovel some on the truck, we can. We can figure that out on Friday. And plants from a tree for me. I think that's everything.
So how long do we think it's going to take to assemble this?
I don't think it's going to take much assembly because now we don't have to have that board, so we actually have the tailgate on the. So the trailer we're using has a large tailgate that we can put that background on.
Oh, nice.
So we just zip tie right there. It'd be really easy. I think it'll be really easy assemblies. It's just, I think maybe if Friday afternoon, just a few people want to, you can put most of it together.
So we also have to plan for attaching the boxes so they don't blow away.
Yeah.
Are we going to do that on Friday as well, or are we going to wait till Saturday?
Oh, wait till we put it. I think we'll wait to put the boxes out in case of rain. It is looking like it might sprinkle this weekend.
Who is available? Because it looks like we're probably going to get together Saturday to really finish the float all together for what we have. I think it's been fantastic, and I'd like to thank everybody for participating in such short notice. And it's, we're pushing the Sustainable Sebastian initiative, and everything else goes along with it. What time Saturday is? Because the parade starts. It looks like it starts at 5:30, but we usually get there about 4 or so because everybody lines up behind us. So we'll have to actually finish everything on Saturday, transportate over to the float where it's going to go through in the parade, and then stage. So I could be here anytime Saturday. It's the parade, so I got all day. If anybody
I don't think it's going to take longer than 2 hours.
2 hours,
No.
you think?
No, it'll take about 40 minutes max. So why don't we say we meet like at 3 o'clock, set up the truck, the float, and then everybody meets back at, I don't know, 4:30.
Where? Yeah, exactly. Where?
Where?
We
What
should
we'll do
meet
is-
here at City Hall
Meet here.
parking lot. and
That-
we'll-
Okay.
Well, this is where
It's
the
better
truck
for,
will be.
for everyone to leave their cars here too, so might as well stay here and we'll all transport over. It's just, it begins at Main Street, right across the highway. Also, we wanted to do native seed packets. They were, very expensive to get, so I actually got envelopes and native seed, like certified Florida native wildflowers with coreopsis. But I need someone to help me put the seeds into the packets. So I need, at any time this week, anyone that may have time that maybe doesn't have time on Saturday could come and help me, and just put seeds in envelopes. We got 200 of them to fill.
I can come Thursday.
Okay, that'd be great.
Do you happen to have them that we could grab them on our way home today?
Nope, I'm still missing coreopsis. They're
Oh,
coming in
okay.
tomorrow.
Yeah, are we able to just come in as we're available to? Like, you know how
No,
I
I'm in.
show up sometimes.
Yeah, and I'm
Okay.
always here, right? I'm here. They're sitting on the end of my desk.
So I have a technical question, because I haven't been in a parade, or how do we get from here to there? Like if we leave our cars here?
Leave your cars here. Since we have a float this year, we don't need transportation back. We'll ride the float back. Usually it's, you leave your car at the start, and then when you get to the other end, it's like, how are you going to get back to your car?
Right.
Just ride the float back. It's really not, it has sides to it. So it's very secure. They're going to put hay bales on it too. And then having that tall back part gives us that to put the background. And on the other side, we have all this space to put any message we want. So it'd be great.
If Donna, if you didn't want to ride the float back, if you parked your car at the far end in the overflow parking, and you just left it there, but you'd have to have a way to get from there to here. That would
Yeah,
be your
okay.
logistical
Thank you.
overcome.
So do we know how many of us are on the float?
6 could probably fit comfortably on it and go back and forth. I'm fine with walking. I know Ruth prefers to walk.
I'm good
Figure
with
it out.
walking. I was thinking about actually biking back home with my my family. Is it possible to meet at the boat ramp?
Yeah.
Or is that,
Oh,
okay?
yeah.
Yeah, all right. Okay. And so the parade starts at 5:30, or we need to be at,
What time? You line up an hour before, correct? If that's
Well,
the-
it says the parade starts at 5:30.
Right.
But the paper said 6.
So it's
Yeah.
5:30. We line. The flyer I got has 5:30 on it. 5:30 is probably the lineup, and 6 o'clock is when it starts. I'm guessing.
I think it was 6 last year, whatever that.
Yeah, and that's
Yeah,
what
I
it was
think so.
last year.
okay.
And Kim, what is the expectation as far as breakdown? Do we have overnight or the next day?
We have
Open.
it's not going to be used over the weekend, and really we won't have that much because we're going to grab the plants, we're going to drop them back off on the way back. So we're going to have that done because they're literally right on our way, they're right across the street, and then it's just boxes and lights after that. So I don't think we're going to have much for breakdown. We just do it then.
Any more comments? Anybody need anything?
The recycle bin's actually right where we park the things. We can just put the boxes right in the recycle. They're right there.
Yes, I have just one question. The 3 o'clock meetup concept, and then possibility of about 40 minutes work on the float still required. I'd like to help with that. Where will the float be located at 3 o'clock?
Right here, the last
Oh.
row of parking at City Hall.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we're going to move on to item B, Sustainable Sebastian. Do we have a litter quitter update, Mr. Brown?
Yes.
All right.
Keep Inner Beautiful as the litter quitter link up on their website now. So now I've put in the work order for the NRB to link to Curb's link for it, and that was the idea. So we'll have a brief explanation of Litter Quitter, and then when they click the button, it routes them to Curb's page, which allows you to nominate. So our next step right now is that they give some of us a password so that we can go in and register all of our volunteers, and then we can start implementing. And I hope to have another training session after the new year. I think we need to get some more volunteers so we can really get out there.
Brian, do you want to add to any of that? You're the head person on that. Okay. Anybody have any other discussion that they want to put in on for Litter Quitter update? Okay, we'll move on to item 2 and discuss the initiative that launched the plan details for Sustainable Sebastian. One of the things that I had spoken about with, well, didn't speak, but I remember Donna had spoken about it, was what is the focus of Sustainable Sebastian and things like that. And I'm dinging off the ring here. And so what I had wanted to do was at our next meeting was put something on the agenda that would focus more on sustainable goal development and exactly what it meant. What I had actually done since, I think it was 2 months ago, you had mentioned, or last month, I went ahead and got more educated on sustainable goal development. I actually took some classes from University of Copenhagen, and we're right where we need to be. That much I can tell you guys, and it's really important what's coming ahead. We can really tie into our 6 initiatives for Sustainable Sebastian, and on our next agenda, I'll present a 10-year plan to get us there, regardless of who's up on this board or not. It'll include basically a plan that's already been developed through the United Nations and their 17 sustainable goals and sustainable goal developments. It's a plan that's been worked on for about 8 years. About 8 million people have put their hands on this, and it's shovel ready. It has everything that you were talking about and getting it focused, and it just gives you a new way of seeing how things could be without sacrificing our way of life today and without sacrificing the resources for tomorrow. And I'll put that on the agenda for January.
Now, 10-year plan is something that the board needs to all work on together in cooperation with city staff on a plan. What staff would like, just as we did a year ago when we were looking at so many broad things, to narrow down to three short-term goals that are the most important to the board. And this is a good time when we have all 9 present. So for an example, 1 is Litter Quitter. We've already committed to that, and we need to train volunteers. We need to go out to businesses. We need to make that a priority. The second thing is that the comp plan is being presented by consultants. The conservation element is being presented to us at the March meeting. So that's a big deal. And after that, there'll be some discussion, and you'll have, the board will all have input on shaping that, and so that would be like number 2. And then number 3.
Is that our March meeting? It'll be here, okay.
Yeah, our March meeting is mainly going to be the consultants working on the comp plan, giving a conservation plan element.
Who is the consulting company?
It's Kimley Horn.
I'm sorry?
Kimley Horn.
Kimberly
Not
Horn?
Kimmy. I say Kimley. Kimley -Horn. And they actually, it's not just the one office. It's an office out of Tampa, but then they have consultants in offices all over the state working on different parts of it. So it's a big project. And it's exciting that the NRB is going to be a step in that. And then, third is, what would be the next priority? And then, as we get one going, then we pick another one. But to keep 3 goals is a reasonable request of the staff. to keep us focused so that our meetings aren't all over the place on every single goal, because we'll never get anywhere. We'll just be all over the page. So, and then I guess there'd be a discussion about what do you think the next most important thing to promote or address.
Is there any
Any
additional
ideas?
comment on that?
Well, I thought we were going to also work on like a kind of presentation that would be rolled out at Earth Day for the Sustainable Sebastian. So we, like a
Right.
marketing plan or some kind of,
And
so with some marketing support materials that we had discussed with.
And I was just
the
going to
mayor.
suggest that would be like our third right now until we get everything rolled out and all the information out there. That would kind of be our third focus. And that would be what every meeting we're focusing on, how we're moving forward on these three things before we pick up another. And that would be the best approach. Because we're looking at something broad, but we want to make a difference. Any thoughts?
Is there any more comment?
Yeah, if I may. Over the summer, I attended a meeting, and there was a lot of good discussion in my mind about sort of for new construction, a landscape code, if you will, where X amount of the property has to be devoted to native plants, sort of a reduction in the amount of grass being grown throughout the town, an emphasis on the use of non-toxic herbicides, one of which, going by the name of WOW, W-O-W, has recently been tested with some good results here in town, I understand, after attending the last meeting. It's a combination of peppermint oil and some other natural ingredients that are not harmful. There's no known harm to them. And it was at least as effective as Roundup in a side-by-side comparison, according to the city manager. So I had heard some very good things. Edible landscapes are now, I believe, part of the Florida code, where you're allowed to do quite a bit of gardening for edibles right on your property.
They aren't allowed to make an ordinance denying you to put it in your front yard now. So that's why. That's
I'm
the new
sorry,
ordinance regarding it, is that for now you can have edible gardening in your front yard. And a lot of communities have ordinances against that.
A lot of communities have ordinance against it, you say?
Yeah, and now state law says they can't. So that was the big move.
Yeah, okay, so that's in harmony with what I thought. So in any event, I don't know, that seems like an important part of our Sustainable Sebastian initiative, having codes in place for new development properties.
And evaluating the landscaping code is definitely a priority that has been discussed by the mayor as well when he addressed us. And the comp plan is the most immediate thing that once that is, we've reviewed, made comments, discussion on that. When we get past that, I think the next thing would be to address the landscaping ordinance. We've made suggestions before. We have a list of them, and we definitely need to shape it so that it fits these BMPs for things. There was a submission this week from a resident for a native plant design for his landscape that technically goes against some of our ordinance. Not because it requires anything that's not ground cover to be covered with rocks or mulch. That's appropriate, but it goes into some of the right-of-way and things that we have ordinances against. So it's being reviewed, but it's serving as a great template for the things that we have that are conflicting, and that's the idea of what we're going to look at. And I agree, we all agree, Robert, that's definitely something that's important. But with the comp plan being reviewed now, it kind of bumped ahead of that for the time being, if that's okay. All right.
Well, if I'm not mistaken, the comp plan is an outside organization, and we're an in-house, in-town organization right here, the Natural Resources Board. And isn't it incumbent upon us to be creative and to formulate these sort of strategies to then enable the city council and those decision makers to act upon
That's why.
recommendations.
That's why Kimberly Horn is taking, they're creating a format, they're going to present it, and that's why they're coming to all of the boards, is to shape it for comments.
So they're gonna be working with us
It's not like,
to
here,
develop
this is what it is, we're just gonna tell you about it. It's let's discuss this. What are the issues here? What are the issues? That's what they're coming for.
Okay. That, cooperation is good.
Does that include landscaping ordinances? Is that in the comp plan?
That's not part of the
I
comp
didn't
plan.
think- Okay.
I think it'd be worth me, I'll send out a copy. I think it'd be good for us all just to look over. It's a lot to read, but at least peruse it and be familiar with the things that are in a comp plan. So I'll send a copy out to everyone,
Okay.
so you have an idea. And mainly pay attention to the conservation element.
And Kim, I know that this isn't on topic with our Sustainable Sebastian initiative and our launch plan, but do you think by our next meeting in January that we could discuss some of our action plans, our strategic action plan? Or if we can get maybe a work group in between?
I'll have to consult with staff, but I don't see why not. I think they just wanted to see pared down to the 3 priorities, and that's what's going to shape the action plan at this, to start. Determining the short term before you plan out for the long term, that's all.
So the 7 sustainable goals that we have, we're gonna pick 3 of those to work on initially, is this?
No, 3, so that's what we were just discussing. So it's a letter quitter, because we've already,
Right,
3
right, that's one.
tasks.
Okay.
Let's say 3 key tasks to put our efforts into and planning into. So first is the litter quitter. We've already, gotten on that. We need to follow this through, and now we have everything lined up where we need it. We're not at the point where we're waiting for someone else's part now. And then there's the launch of Sustainable Sebastian, just like Mayor Dodd had advised us the last meeting. He had great advice, and he was exactly on point, is, create a logo and get it out there, and make stickers and hand them out, and make shirts, and just get it out there, and we need to get it out there. So it's community events like Pelican Island. It's our Earth Day will be the big rollout, and then the comp plan. That's the other thing. So those are like the 3 key tasks to keep our resources allotted to for the time being. Does that make sense? And within the Sustainable Sebastian launch is also our Earth Day, which does take up a lot of our planning time. And then after Earth Day, also the comp plan will probably be cemented down, and then we can look at, hopefully, at the landscaping, is my thought, but it's your decision. But
Well, we have to have the marketing plan in place by Earth Day, before Earth
correct,
Day, so.
correct. So underneath your thing is just some logos, and they all kind of look the same, but they don't. So Mayor Dodd said, he'd like for it to be something reminiscent of the city logo. So keeping the city name in the same font and style was important, and having it something that we can get out easily. So making it a black and white makes it what could be called a cut file. So we can cut with scraps of vinyl from the sign shop. We can easily and inexpensively get our logo out there if we stick to something like that. I know the key things that were discussed about logo were, the pelican, a tree, water. It's basically, the main environmental things that we represent. And it's open it's not like choose A, B, C, D, or E. Just is open for discussion.
Kim, I think you've done a really good job on these. I really like the C in the middle. I think that captures
That was my pick, too.
everything in the proper scale. I just really like it.
It kind of had like the Tree City USA logo
Right.
going.
My
Anyone
vote
else?
is for B.
I was I was between B and C, but the one thing I like about B is that I don't know why, this is purely aesthetic, but
Right.
the type being all black
Black,
instead
yeah.
of
That
switching from
pops.
black to I think that it stands out a little bit better.
It's easy to read.
Yeah, yeah.
Is this something you want us to vote on today?
Well, we want to get something of a logo onto the parade float, right? That'll be our first chance to get it out there, and on the seed packets. So that's why I wanted to have some discussion.
Can I ask for a consensus from the board on, are you comfortable with voting on one of these logos tonight?
I am.
I am.
Yes.
Do we have to make it an actionable item?
No, but it'd be helpful.
Can I do it on this meeting, or do I have to wait till next meeting?
Well, I can't put it out there until you agree that which one you like or what you want.
Okay, let's
I still go with C because I like the scale of the tree.
let's take a single vote, one at a time, starting left to right.
Well, I like the cleanness of B.
That's one for B,
B as in Bravo.
2 for B. I like C.
I like C.
I like B.
C.
C,
C.
C. C.
C.
C's and Charlie.
D. Okay, by the vote of the board,
Now, the size isn't, yeah.
by the vote of the board, it looks like a C is going to pass, 5 to 2 to 1. If the board is comfortable, I'd like to recommend C as our logo for Sustainable Sebastian. Can we take a vote on that? And what's that?
I'll
A
second.
second.
Oh,
I
I'm
will
sorry.
second.
I'd like to
Kathy.
make a motion to make C our logo for Sustainable Sebastian. I'll need a second. Okay. And let's take a voice vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. The ayes have it, and that's our new logo. Thank you, Ms. Hagler.
Okay.
Is there any more comment on the logo before we move on?
I just have one quick thing, Charles.
Yes, sir.
And that is, I think this is so much more important than the, whatever we got up there about 6 grumpy guys and some old grouches. This is really important stuff.
I think I was driving past the one that, actually, there's one on my way home as I go up Schumann, and then there's the other one near the Publix and Barber and Schumann that I see all the time. And it would be really cool to be able to kind of drape this around, kind of make it something that people notice that it's different and kind of.
I've had this inclination of, you know, something to the effect that, welcome to Sebastian, where every day is Earth Day, and then a Sustainable Sebastian right in along with that, you know, as opposed, because I see us as leaders in Florida in terms of dealing with some of the tough issues that face us out there, and algae blooms amongst them. So it would be wonderful. That would solidify our position as a destiny for ecotourism, and because we have something very special here in this town. I've traveled a lot of this state, and there's no aesthetically nicer town than Sebastian, in my opinion.
Additional comment?
I do. As far as a branding plan, a checklist, to-do task, is that something that we can meet in between or have for our meeting in January, or what would
I
be the
think it'll be
recommendation?
hard to meet in between with the holidays. And not that special meetings are not out of the question, but I think a special meeting in December will be difficult to coordinate. But after January, we could certainly address it, but we can bring that to the January meeting. And then after that, we'll discuss.
If we are having initial discussions in January, potential work group, you know, between January and February, if we are able to decide on everything on February, does that give us enough time to potentially print things, publish things, you know, get the?
Absolutely.
Yes, I've never done this before, so I don't know if anyone has.
As far as the, like, window stickers and things, that's something the city can do internally. So it definitely gives us time on that. And like, remember how Dodd said to come up with a plan and with a cost and approach city council about it, so.
Is there any additional comment? Okay, we'll move on to item C. Earth Day and Arbor Day celebration on Saturday, April 25th, 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. Next steps for each department. I'll probably take your files on Earth Day because you were really good about getting everybody to do something last year, and you kept good records if you had something like that.
I'm not sure that it was, I think we just all kind of stepped up to the plate. So I think we're in pretty good shape in terms of knowing who's doing what. Over the break, not over the break, well, it was Thanksgiving break, but I sent out an email to all the vendors. I had CC'd you so that you were aware of it. So I just kind of had a blanket email, save the date, this is when it's happening, this is when it's happening in terms of time and date. I've already had, I was checking the email today, and there were at least, I want to say, 6-7 vendors and the environmental organization that had responded saying, we're in, is there an application yet? So people are, ready and willing. So I think if we can have an application, maybe sending them out in January would be a good idea. That way it's not happening all at the same time.
I need to update the application, and also we won't have a lot in the March meeting to discuss, well, a time to discuss, because we'll have this comp plan discussion. It was supposed to be in April, but I was like, I have to push it back to March. That's our last meeting before Earth Day, and it would be difficult to focus on the comp plan with everything else we have to do. So generously, they moved it to March for us. And so the next step, I need to update the application and get it on the NRB website.
And then with entertainment,
Contacted all the entertainers from last year. Everybody's interested in doing it again. They're all available. I'll be sending out contracts in between now and our next meeting, so.
they were just really great, especially the Golden Bees, they were just fantastic. The ukulele players.
The best.
There was an email from a musician who was interested in playing. I'll have to try and forward that to you, or can I forward it to you?
We've got a full slate
Oh, you do
for
already, so
everybody.
you're good to go.
Everybody's coming back,
Okay,
so like.
then, yeah, okay, that's fine.
But we can always use an alternate, so.
As a
Just for the
backup.
benefit of new members as well. So for the planning of Earth Day, we have special permission to use a separate email account for planning. So some of the board members that are in charge of certain aspects of the planning can use this NRB Earth Day email that has always been used to communicate with the vendors, and it's part of the Florida Sunshine Laws. It's public record, so all of it is queried and put into public record as well, just to explain how that works. So, and it's only for the planning of Earth Day. Otherwise, we would never get it. We just can't be a rose,
No, I know.
So if you have any questions about that, please contact me. I can explain it further. And I think we need to get the account and the password out to other board members as well. Who else needs that? Kathy, right?
I do, Kim, as well. Thank you.
All right. Great. So the next step is mine. I'm going to update that app and get on the NRB website. And, I keep an eye out for other companies that you see, especially over the holidays when you go into these small stores, and let them know that it's a no-charge event for vendors. It's a great opportunity for some smaller businesses to get out there and get their product out. So I know I recruited a bunch of people directly last year that way, and there were some great vendors.
One of the things I included on the email was our focus on sustainable Sebastian, so I included that so that vendors are aware, they know to kind of have a heads up to be prepared for, avoiding the single-use plastics, avoiding any of the items that they might be using as packaging, or, for the food vendors, to just be aware that this is coming. So I don't know if we can put that on the application form, that this is something, and I don't know if we would have to vote on that and discuss that, but I think that would be an important aspect to really highlight that and drive that home, that this is part of our goal.
Wouldn't it be great if we could premiere our water refill station at the park for the event?
Yeah.
They did just get some new benches for some of the parks and trash cans and equipment they were assembling out at the compound. And so, Brian, are those recycled plastic? And they are. They're all from recycled plastic materials. It's good.
So back to the vendors, I just wanted to inform everybody that our club will participate, and we will have our beautiful lagoon art show in the Earth Day celebration, which will be all art related to the lagoon. And we will also do a face painting station for the kids.
Thank the art club.
Yeah, we're going to share with they usually do a lagoon art show in the springtime, and I think it's great that we can partner. We have plenty of space left in the park. We can all share, and it'll be fantastic. And they're going to do face painting.
And it is the 50th anniversary of Earth Day, so we should have a good turnout with all the publicity surrounding it, and we should be able to really get the word out there and have a fantastic launch for Sustainable Sebastian.
Our main competition is going to be that it's the Vero Beach Air Show, and they have the Blue Angels this year.
It's also about Arbor Day too. We have to remember to speak about Arbor Day when we're up there, and everything that goes along with that. So
I submitted our Tree City USA application, and we qualify for the Improvement Award, which is like a bonus.
All right.
What they give you because we allotted special funds towards the protection of trees in Riverview Park, and developed a tree protection plan for it. So that's cool. It's gonna be like an extra badge on our sign.
Is part of our rollout for Sustainable Sebastian and as part of Earth Day, is there a way that we could use some of the funding that we have for Earth Day to perhaps reward someone that might sound like a student that we can ask to write something or draw something? We can pick
A contest, you mean?
a contest type thing to kind of get thought going and as far as what is sustainability, or we can even provide enough context with what was voted in by City Council recently to give them a little background, but allow them some latitude. Whether we want a shirt design or whether we want to have a 100-word contest or something and then reward and make the announcement at Earth Day as who was selected. So it would take, getting out public notice to in January or something like that, and then we'd have to pick someone. It's just a thought, but getting more people involved in raising awareness of it to begin with, this is one way you can do it, get creative thought going.
Is that another word for a $100 scholarship? Can we call it that? Because I don't think we can just give away something like that. We can do a scholarship though.
We'll have to look into that, and we'll include it in discussion on when we look at launch plan costs for branding. We'll include that in the discussion so we can approach it as because that goes. I don't know exactly how that goes with our funding, and our funding's super tight. We the board is less funding. We still have the same event to pull off, so we don't know exactly where we are. But it's included in the discussion as we discuss our branding and getting our brand out as that being one element of it, and then what the overall cost would be.
I was just thinking relative to the fact that we last year had raffle, right? So that we had a giveaway. I didn't. I'd rather have something in exchange, or have more thought given, more time about
An
it.
essay.
And that's where I was coming from. I
Maybe we
understand.
could go to the vendors and ask them to donate something, like the tree places or the.
They did last year. They all
we
donated,
almost
and
did.
in
We
the
had too
in
much,
the end,
yes.
we had a whole booth of stuff, and like everybody who got into the raffle won something. That would be a good way of saying it. And it was the participation was tremendous. I think one of the things we did last year that we may be addressing with this is we try to give away some things, and we're trying to do something to get more engagement. Like we would do we had a hunting contest, and they went around and found different things. And so we're trying to look for some ways to get them more engaged even in the same contest. But
Something-
you're right, that they all did.
Something that involves the schools that leads into promoting the event in the local schools, that would be good. Some sort of activity that they submit as part of a contest, same idea. And then, but it's also, at the same time, it's getting awareness of the event out to all the schools and a discussion of the event out to all the schools. So that could be great.
Yeah, I like the idea of an art contest. I think something visual, something that people can see. An essay contest would be really cool, but it's tough. Like, people would have to stand there and read it for a while. But I think, and I don't know if it ties in, I think that I've noticed a lot, and I know that they've been doing something with murals up here. Is there space in the, I don't know, in the back of the restroom building? I don't know if you really want to put it there. But that we could put a mural of some sort that would actually be in the park, that we could, that's the only building,
Chamber of
right?
Commerce is running that mural project, and I don't know the details of it, but the best thing to do is to contact them and see where they have been approved to place them and where they already have planned, and maybe there's a spot open. I don't know the details. That would be.
It would be kind of cool to turn like a winning piece of art into.
What about?
Well, they could
Like
do,
we
they
said,
could
the
do the
shirts, that's
poster,
neat.
right? I mean, we already have the bands, and
Yeah.
we know what date it is. I mean,
They could do the
the
poster.
contest could be design the poster for
For the event.
Sebastian Earth Day.
That's cool.
Yeah, that is a good idea.
That's a good idea. Do we want to make that onto the next agenda when we start working that out? Okay.
Yeah, I'll speak to staff, see about getting the details of it, how we can work it out, and there's some of the school board you have to go through for everything.
I'll get
And
you the
spot-
name,
I'll have to
I
speak
can
with
get you the name of the bands pretty quickly, so, and their lineup.
Okay, awesome.
Does anybody have any additional comment on item C, Earth Day and Arbor Day celebrations?
What's the status of serving alcoholic beverages?
How's our beer status for Earth Day?
You had said, we had said that the rules of the beer is that it has to be for charity, served by charity. We don't have enough members to have people pouring beer. We
I
don't have
got
to
the
be many
charity
tables.
part handled.
So that is between, the Rotary Club has to approach the Leisure Services Department with that proposal. And then he can look into it from there. But we can't, because it won't be us doing it.
But we're
just
approved-
saying they can do it at our
We're
event.
approved to do
to
it.
raise money for
Once
their
we get
charity.
through all the steps, we don't have to go through any other boards. I just got to get my Rotary board
Well,
member.
once you go to Leisure Services, any alcohol service at any event, even if someone's joining the community center, has to go through city council.
Oh, I thought I already went to the city council.
No. Every event goes through just the the meeting before that event, it goes through and has to be approved for alcohol. Even if you're having a 5-person.
Is that something I can go ahead and put on the January's agenda as well, so I can get that handled? Because I already dealt with the Rotary
You
people.
have to have it, but you have to have the details finalized with Leisure Services before it can go on city council agenda.
Okay.
And he puts it on the agenda, he has to put it on,
I'll set an appointment with you to get that detail.
okay?
Because I already
You have-
spoke to the
With Rotary
Rotary,
Club.
and they're ready.
Would he need to
I
write
think
something
there
up?
was I'm so sorry to interrupt. Go ahead.
Would he need to write something up or have some kind of application ready to present to you, Kim?
He just has to do, it's not in my department, it's in Leisure Services, so Charles, you can say that, that the Earth Day, it would be proud to sponsor the Rotary Club coming, and the Rotary Club says, so you both, representative from both organizations has to approach the Leisure Services Department about that.
Well, really, what information would he need to present to council?
He's not gonna present to council.
Well, what information needs to be provided to you so that it can be,
Yeah, it'll go.
Brian
Nothing.
has to compile that, that's not my,
okay.
Thank
so
you.
Thank you.
that's for Leisure Services. That's what I'm saying. You have to approach Leisure Services, they're gonna get everything that they need from you. And then once they have everything in order, then they'll present it to city council, and then you're at it.
Okay, great.
Kim,
Fantastic.
I thought last time that we were still on the fence whether we really wanted to go down this road or not. And I, for one, don't support going down this road. So before we get too far down this path, I would like to know that the board is supportive of serving alcohol an event that
I'm
where
on the
typically
fence
has
about
not
this
been
as
held.
well. I'm not sure that, it's the right message for us, but that's, I'm on the fence about it. That's,
I just
Do we
think
wanna
that you'll
s-
have more people attending if you have alcohol.
Absolutely.
So, I mean, yes, you're
the
gonna
truth.
have to
It's the truth.
look at it from the perspective of how many people are you trying to educate?
Can we make this an item for discussion at a full board meeting on the agenda? Would that be a better way of doing it?
We
Or
can't discuss it now? Can
'cause
we?
we could take care of this now, but we're getting towards the end of our meeting time. For no, we're okay.
Just the last thing, so.
Or does the board want to discuss this right now?
I think, one of the issues that we had I guess maybe it's just my perspective. One of the reasons that I was on the fence as well is because of what are we gonna serve the alcohol in, the beer in? And I think that if we don't have a reusable option, if we have something that has our Sustainable Sebastian label on it, if that's part of the deal and we can do that, I would be much more willing to do it. I think the reason, I don't think we can serve it, even, I know that these businesses are litter quitter, but if we're serving it in plastic cups, even if they're biodegradable or recycled plastic, they're still single use, and I don't think that's sending the right message.
Would paper cups suffice that threshold?
I don't, personally, that's not, you're gonna use a reusable, you're gonna serve as the kind of gold standard, I think that we should be that.
Use or reuse.
What
Okay.
if you told everyone that they had to bring their own container, that it was a reusable
Would
container?
never.
I mean, is that a health concern that gets served?
Yeah, because what are they gonna end up
bring your
bringing?
own mug.
A pitcher?
Yeah.
That opens a whole
It's
other.
not Oktoberfest.
A whole other thing.
Well, I'll lead off with the discussion. The main reason why I had suggested serving beer, not so much alcohol, but beer in general, one, first, to bring in more people to their Earth Day, because it brings in a lot of people. I work with the Rotary. I'm an active Rotarian. We do Shrimp Fest already, and we do the Clam Bake. And we serve a lot of beer in those two events, and a lot of people, they have a good time. It's not so that everybody can come here and get liquored up, though. It's not meant for that, and that is what they do look out for that when they're serving beer. They're not going to overserve people. They're not looking to make big money on it. The other part, other than getting people here, was to tell a story about making money from something from the earth. And beer has been around and being made for hundreds of years, and everything about beer has to do with earth something, whether it's growing, whether it's the heat produced, the energy used. It's a sustainable business, and the fact that it's been around for so long and it's employed so many people. Those were my two biggest driving reasons for wanting to serve beer here.
Well, please let me respond. I mean, as a native Kentuckian, I'm very proud of my bourbon roots, and I can point to how sustainable that is. So I understand that. But I think for an event that we're touting as family-friendly, we're trying to get school kids involved with posters or art contests and so forth. I'm not sure serving alcohol at that venue is the appropriate thing to do. I don't think people are going to be coming for the beer. Hopefully they're coming because of the music and art contests and art shows and some of the other things that are going on. I drink. It's not that I'm opposed to someone coming drinking. I just not sure that we need that kind of change, particularly when we're asking the schools to participate.
Yeah, who's our target market?
Yeah, who's our target
Yeah.
market and what are we trying to do?
We can either do one or the other, I think, but if we invite the schools in, I think the alcohol has to go, right? I mean, I don't think having school kids around alcohol is really, I don't know. And one other thing I would say is this is available through Surfrider Foundation for $10. So I don't know what kind of deal they got, but I'd be happy to find out. And if you were to do it, if you were to serve beer, maybe we could look at providing these, and for $10 we get Pete to donate, the beer or whatever. $12 you get this and a beer.
Would it be appropriate for me to just get a consensus vote from the board at this time on serving beer, just to see where I'm at on this? Because I don't want to take up too much of your time if we're not all on the same board, and I'd rather us work as a team on something than to argue and waste time about it. Can we take a single vote, each person, please, starting left to right?
Okay. I'm in favor of it only if there's a great emphasis on the reusable container for the beverage.
Can I make one caveat on that? Can we just do yay or nay on this? And then if you're in favor of it with something else, we'll do what we can, and then we can always stop it. But at this point here, I'd either like to stop it or move forward with it, because there's so much that I have to do to get it done. And if we can just do that.
Okay, I'll pass.
Is that a yay or nay?
That's a pass.
He abstains.
Oh, abstain. Okay.
Yay.
I'll go yay.
Yay.
I'm going to go nay.
Nay.
Yay.
Abstain. I'm indifferent.
Nay.
Based on what the board has voted on, I have a vote of 4 yays and 3 nays, with 2 abstaining. Based on that vote, I'm going to move forward with trying to get beer served at Earth Day. And again, it's not so that the city of Sebastian can get drunk or anything like that. It's again to promote sustainability, businesses, and the new breweries in town, get them involved. And in the end, if we don't get it to go, then we don't get it to go. It's, you know, I'm not gonna you know, stop everything else just to get that going, but I am gonna move forward with that. Is there any more comment on that? Okay, we'll move on to item number 9, member matters. Is there any vocal member matters? I just have only one thing. I'd like to thank Ms. Mosblett for her service up here. She was a fantastic president. When I first came on board here, we were not as many people up here. I can definitely tell you that. There was like 3 or 4 people. Then Ms. Mosblett came on board, and look at everybody here now. So I'd like to congratulate her on everything she's done here and her effect on Sebastian as we move forward. Even though I'm going to be relatively new in this position, my goal is the Sustainable Development Goals, which I will present in January. And what all it really is a way of looking at every decision that is made through a paradigm of, does it benefit the environment or does it hurt the environment? Does it take away from everybody? Does everybody benefit? Is there equality involved? The number one goal of sustainability is to end poverty, believe it or not. Poverty is a driver of the people using the resources not to their best use. That is really one of the outstanding goals. But it's not just the people who don't have money who are in fear of poverty. It's the people who have money. And what I mean by that, they're the most in fear of losing everything they have. So we have to consider all of that. And I'll present that in January. That's about it.
Thank you, Nicole.
Thank you.
Any other issue for member matters? Item number 10, items for next agenda. We'll just talk about Sustainable Sebastian.
Yeah, the branding rollout and the Sustainable Sebastian itself rollout, and Earth Day. And I'll get out a copy of the comp plan. And trust me, you will not want to read it from one end to the other, but you'll want to familiarize yourself with the material that's on it, so you have an idea of you know, where some, you know, it's a very broad document. It's different from our Code of Ordinances, which is a whole other set of books, which is a fun read as well.
Are we going to get any pre-materials for the Kimley Horn presentation? Anything in advance?
They're presenting it as, it'll be the first time any of us see it. that's the idea.
Is there any more comments for anything we've discussed that is being left off for anybody?
Kim, you mentioned the branding plan and then sustainable Sebastian. Was the strategic action plan our kind of priorities that we want to discuss? Was that one on there?
Correct.
I'm sorry, I missed it. Thank you.
Any other comment? I need a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Meeting adjourned.